All right, so the first piece on the program is Tales of Hopper, and I will turn this over to Cherylyn and Martin. It's one of the uh, tremendous projects that I had the honor of being a part of, and I loved it so much. So, Cherylyn, would you like to go first?
Sure. So my background as a dancer was ballet, and I had the great fortune of being in Pennsylvania Ballet when they danced all the major Balanchine repertory, as well as the classics. I have to say, as I look back at the work, I know where I've been influenced, among other wonderful choreographers. I formed my company in 2000. A lot of people out of Tisch Dance, actually, because I've been teaching there for over 30 years. In ballet, actually was a chair for a while. And then one of my dancers in around 2016 sent me a piece of really glorious music, Prayers Remain Forever by Martin Bresnick. And I started working with it. It was absolutely beautiful. And a little bit of humor. I got stuck. It started going in a direction that choreographically I wasn't imagining. And my mentor, Phyllis Lamhut, came into the room and in her little dear and wise but screechy voice said, "Cherylyn, you gotta get rid of the music." And I said, no. So I knew that I had to change the music, but I refused to move away from Martin. So I searched through several works and found this beautiful piece, Josephine the Singer. And that was our first collaboration, a piece called Veiled. And then Martin proposed that we do a project together. And he gave me two choices, first Shakespeare and the other an Edward Hopper collaboration. And I didn't dare touch Shakespeare. Too many people have done that too well. So we began collaborating and we had breakfast regularly in his neighborhood, not too far from my neighborhood. We're both in Chelsea. And Martin, I think we can go back and forth here, but Martin sent me several suggestions of the Hopper paintings. And we collected about 7 that we really loved. And then I said, you know, Martin, I can't work without music. I know you're gonna write it, but can you send me some sketches? And it all began there. And then I'll just say one little final thing. It was a real transition point for me. I've always been tremendously music and movement based. But looking carefully at Hopper's paintings, I realized that they were so spare and so essential that a lot of movement was not going to be the right direction. And so I started working from a more dramatic standpoint with gesture and just real human stories that I kind of imagined from the paintings. So I'm going to hand it over to Martin.
Thanks. Hello, everybody. Thanks, Cherylyn. An interesting bit of backstory here is that I didn't know that Cherylyn was looking at my music at all. I happened to just see it on Facebook, and I thought, gee, I think no one has ever choreographed to my music before, and I always felt that there was some possibility there. So I went down to see it. I went down to see what she was doing. She took this piece, Josephine the Singer, which, by the way, Elly Toyoda has made some remarkable performances of and recordings of. And I watched what Cherylyn did, and I was completely delighted. I'd never seen anyone reach so deep into the music to see kind of the inner movement of the music, the inner detail that the music implied, the rhythm, the forward motions, the hesitations, the backward. I was so delighted that that's how I approached Cherylyn. And I said, you know, it's great that you choreographed to that piece that already existed, but shall we get together and do something more interesting, do something together that was fresh and new? And yes, we did agree eventually on Hopper. I was a little disappointed about Shakespeare, and I'm still bugging Cherylyn about this. I'm very eager to do Winter's Tale with her, yeah. One of my favorite plays of Shakespeare, which I think would make an incredible ballet. But obviously the COVID had interrupted parts of our collaboration. But once everything gets back in shape, we invite you to join us for breakfast at the Skylight Diner on 34th Street, just on 9th, across from B&H. That's where we would meet to discuss our projects and think about the future together.
Nice.
Amazing. So another thing that makes this project so special for me as a performer was that I know this project was in the making for 2 years. At least the idea was raised 2 years, perhaps even earlier. And then it culminated to this wonderful production. It happened in late February this year. If it were even a week later that this premiered, it probably would have been canceled. So it just blows my mind. It still gives me the goosebumps to think that that could have all just been canceled, but we just made it right at the last cut. So yeah, and then this, of course, for me was the last live performance I did before the pandemic hit. So whenever I think of a live performance, I always come to this. So that's another thing. But anything else either of you want to add before I go through the screen share?
Well, just quickly, and then Cherylyn will conclude it. I just want to say that what you'll see when you see it and what you'll hear is a performance with Elly as a violinist and Ashley Bathgate is the cellist and Lisa Moore is the pianist. And the three of them form a special trio, which we call the Mammoth Trio. And the reason we call them the Mammoth Trio is that they're all about between 4'11" and 5'1". I think they make a very strong appearance when they get out there, but they play much bigger than they are in size. Their spiritual and musical size is immense. So they truly are musical mammoths.
Oh, thank you. I just love the name of that trio.
I'm going to tag right on to that because interestingly enough, we never heard the actual score until we were in the theater with the live musicians. And I cannot express the just tremendous inspiration that made for all of us in terms of performers and creators. I also want to give credit to my set designer, Jesse Seegers. You'll see how wonderful it is, costume designer, Christopher Metzger, and my other composer, who also has functioned for years with me as a dramaturg, Scott Killian.
All right, thank you so much, both of you. And now, should we just dive right into the music then? All right, so I'm about to screen share. Okay. And then first, I'd like to share with you the specific vignettes that these are based on. So the first one you'll hear is New York Movie. So if you just take a look at this for a moment and then imagine what the music and choreography will be to that. Okay, and then we also have Automat. This will be the second piece. So this is the other scene. All right.